throughout the year, they come and not only talk about their beautiful resort, but they also talk about the destination. They educate the counselor, and they basically, we know and they know that this is going to trickle over to our members. Because our members, I'm sure they're going to have a lot of questions, but you know what? The counselors really can directionally drive and help our members make a decision on where to go on vacation. So we're very positive with the news that we've had. I think there's still a lot of hard work, and I know we're probably going to talk more about that throughout this panel. Another interesting statistic I wanted to share with you was between our gold and platinum members, when we did our member profile, we discovered that those are our upgraded memberships that we have, gold and platinum. Through our gold and platinum members, 28.3% want to go in the next 2 years. And for our platinum members, 28.6%. So that says a lot even when you slice it and dice it within our members and our higher upgraded memberships that we have. So again, in summary, I mean, we've done a lot of hard work and there's still a lot of hard work to go, but I do feel that the tide is turning.
So very, very interesting. You're seeing an increase in the demand for Mexico in general, but in the higher level memberships, even a higher increase in demand. So very, very positive. Obviously, those are the people we want to travel to Mexico.
Correct, and that's from our North American member base. And so I mean, that's who we want to target.
So Ray, let me just stick with you while you have the microphone and you mentioned this. I'd like to hear a little bit of an expansion on it. What's it like for the counselors getting the phone calls in? How much influence do they have in directing somebody to Mexico or to other countries? Is the country brand a critical part of their decision in where to travel?
It's the country brand, but definitely also the knowledge of the counselor. I mean, if the counselor is comfortable with the destination they're selling, if they have knowledge about it, they know about the geography, which we try to train them as well on that. But at the same time, if they've had firsthand experience about the destination and the resort that they're promoting, I mean, I've heard it myself several times in the call center when I'm hearing some of the calls, how they get a guest who wants to go to another country and they say, well, what do you want to go there? You could go to Mexico, and this is why. So a lot of things that we've done with our developers is, how normally in call centers there's contests. So, I've seen some crazy things being offered. I think one of our friends one time wanted to offer a Mini Cooper for the top booker to the destination.
Wow.
But what we found that actually really works is sending the counselor, the top bookers, to the destination to stay at the resorts. And what happens when you do that, it sort of becomes like viral, because you have the counselor who comes back, they had a great time, they have more knowledge in the destination, then they start talking about it. Not just to the fellow counselors, but also they start to talk about it to the members. And so that becomes extremely viral and positive as well.
So educating the counselors is a huge part of this, making sure they understand what's available, what it's really like there, that there is security, et cetera, that there are values and benefits to traveling to Mexico. You encourage developers to come in and do presentations, to talk about their destinations, to talk about their resorts?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm actually in most of those trainings when it comes to Mexico, and I mean, it's a full day training where we have a captive audience. We're there from 9 in the morning to 6 at night, and every 30 minutes, and this isn't our Miami call center, every 30 minutes we have a new wave of counselors come. But parallel to that, we also record the sessions. Why do we do this? Because then we send that to all the other call centers we have throughout the world. So simultaneously, we're touching on everybody. But something interesting we also do is we don't just do the training with the counselors. Parallel to doing this, we send promotions about Mexico when the trainings are happening to our members. So at the same time, we're generating the interest as well. Members are calling, the counselors are educating them as well, directionally driving them there as well. And another key component is, we have our magazine where we're constantly promoting the Mexico destination and educating our members. I mean, that's key. Education is key to really have them understand the destination and motivate them to want to come.
And really, it's a multi-pronged effort. It's just not a matter of educating the consumer. It's educating people within our industry, within our own companies, to make sure that they understand, to be able to direct and advise people correctly.
Correct. And then another thing, I'm sorry to be monopolizing the time
please,
of the panel.
This is important.
I mean, another thing we do parallel to all this as well, I know a lot of people talk about social networking. Well, we have our own internal social networking called Interval Community. As of right now, as of the latest figure, we have about 180,000 members to Interval community. That ends up being one of the largest timeshare forums, I think, in the world. And the interesting thing is, we don't really moderate it in the aspect that if somebody talks bad about a destination, we don't try to jump in, or we don't need to jump in, because you know what happens? The members end up defending the destination. And I've seen numerous times when you have a member who hasn't gone to Mexico who expressed fear because of what they saw on the news, which was misconceived, and you see like 20 members jump in and say, hold on a second, no, I was just there. I own a property in Cancun, for example. And so it's really neat to see that our own members actually protect the Mexico brand.
No better testimonial than from another member, obviously. I mean, that has tremendous impact. So is that like a blog page that they have this opportunity to converse back and forth? Is that on Facebook, or where is that happening?
It's inside our Interval, intervalworld.com website. So, as a member, you get to log in. It's password protected, and only our members can communicate within our webpage.
Flow naturally. You don't control what's being said.
We let it flow naturally. We, of course, have, we want to make sure nobody puts anything nasty, so, like bad pictures or whatever. But, we just moderate it, where it should be, but we don't get involved in that aspect. We just let it flow.
Excellent. Very, very good. Anna, I wonder if you could expand on this a little bit in regards to RCI's view on this. Are the counselors an important part of determining the location people pick for their destination?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, expanding a little bit more, and I agree completely with him on the fact that the guides are the ones that can lead the confirmation one way or another. One of our main competitors for confirmations in a sun and beach destination, it's of course the Caribbean, destinations like Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and of course destinations on the ecotourism side like Costa Rica. So what we decided 2 years ago were to attack this from 3 different ends. One of them, it's the education to the clients, to our own member base, where our 3.8 million members have every month insertions within our electronic magazines of the different destinations, the highlights and the attractions of each one of the Mexican destinations. And of course, to provide them with, in our website, a Mexico special offer site where they can see all the good things that our resorts are giving them as incentives to get them to the resorts. They can experience through the videos and the pictures to be at the property live, even though they're not there, to get them to make the decision. But to your point, if they haven't gotten that decision made yet, we're training the guides, besides having all our regular visits and trainings from the resorts to our different call centers throughout the world. We launched 2 years ago a concept called Mexico Passport that we worked in conjunction with the Consejo de Promoción Turística to really educate the guides on the destination itself. The guides told us resorts are wonderful, but the member wants to know first what it is there in the destination for them. Is this a family destination? Is it fishing good? Is it what kind of sports or activities are there in the resort so that I can make the decision of where I want to go with my family? So we started creating all these trainings. We did a road show, and we trained about 900 of our call center guides around the globe on the destinations, the attractions, the airlift that each one of the destinations have, the cost of a taxi ride, the differences between going to Cabo versus going to Cancun, the distances, and even the distances within a map, so that they can really see in perspective that the news that they hear from a town called Tampico is nowhere near Cancun or Mazatlan or Vallarta. So we did all this roadshow through our guides, and this year, the next step, or the second phase of the Mexico Passport project, it's to launch an incentive in conjunction with the resorts, with RCI, and of course the Consejo, for all the guides to make confirmations and generate incentives for them that are focused mainly, like Raimundo was saying, on visits to the resorts, to really live the experience and become a Mexico ambassador. We also have a very strong project, which is that one precisely, the Mexico Ambassador, that we have dedicated guides throughout our Ireland, North America, South America, throughout all of our call centers that are experts on Mexico, that have been to Mexico through the different resorts and have really lived the experience. So it is more trustworthy for the guides to hear the comments from another colleague that was there, that lived the experience, and that comes back and becomes the best promoter ever among the call centers and among their friends. So with those two actions, we have covered the member side and the guide side. But we've also gone beyond that. We generated we launched an incentive within the students that have the Mercadotecnia on the 7th grade at a college here in Mexico, and we launched a project for them to really have a passion of how would you promote, with all these new ideas in your youth, how would you promote the Mexico brand out there? How would you leverage all the wonderful amenities, culture, service, and the product that we have, like Kemil was saying? How would you spread that word around by leveraging the social media? So we got about 100 students that were divided in several groups. All of them presented very, very interesting projects. And they came up with a very, very good idea of how to leverage the word of mouth of Mexico and making it viral by having ambassadors, which would be opinion leaders that would come to Mexico, and they would be posting information throughout their visits about their experience. And of course, if you multiply the 3.8 million members that we have, just RCI alone, if you add them to intervals into the other resorts, this can multiply by millions, because the idea is to create this viral promotion of Mexico so that it is a word-of-word mouth promotion that provides the confidence of the people that are thinking about probably going to another destination to come to Mexico.
Very, very interesting. I mean, it's not just the consumer that needs to be educated. This really is from all levels, up and down, and accessing through the social medias obviously is a great, great concept and idea, and I want to come back to that and talk a little bit more about it. Excellent answer. Thank you very much for your input. I want to switch gears slightly here and talk to some of the resort developers and what their philosophy and angle is. Ricardo is based in Cabo, represents Solmar Resorts there, and that is the only location that they're currently in is in Cabo. Is that correct? So I think Cabo has kind of a unique situation, as does Cancun, in that they have their own identity as well as part of Mexico, but in a way somewhat separate from Mexico. Do you find that you're presenting yourself more as Cabo or as Mexico, or both? What's the advantage for you?
As you said, Cabo has their own identity. And lately, I think what the consumer is looking for, since they're become more smart, I mean, they want more for their money. They're looking more experience. They're looking for more value. I think product is key, destination is key, and the level of service is key. Of course, Mexico is not elemental piece of the equation in promoting or making the consumer decide to book Los Cabos. I have experienced that destination is being number one, and then the product as number two. Therefore, our main or primary focus as a group, as destination, is to engage as much as we can North American consumer, which is our main feeder to the destination, to the brand of Los Cabos. And that has been very successful for us this 2013 and 2012. We can see the huge increase in amount of international passenger and airlift that arrives to Cabo in the first 5 months of 2013. And guess what? We have discovered such, and therefore we are working in that direction as we speak for the remaining of the year and 2014.
Okay, makes perfect sense. As Cabo, as he said, certainly has their own identity, and it draws the North American tourist down. What about in Cancun? Do you find Cancun to be a similar situation, Kemil, or what about for a developer? And I know this doesn't fit you exactly, but there are many developers in the Cancun area who have resorts outside of Mexico. How do they present something like that? Are they promoting Cancun? Are they promoting Cancun over other destinations? How does it work?
Well, let me first say that the markets are really an important driver of what you need to do. And we know that our business really is oriented to two main markets, the US and Canada. Okay. Mexico also, it's an important part of that. Now, outside of that, the markets are very thin, and normally, I mean, the consumers of those markets are not very familiar with the product. We have members from 170 countries. That doesn't mean anything, but we do, however, in very small numbers. So at the end, you have to really look at your main market. And the US market has not recovered totally for Mexico. It has not recovered totally for Cancun either. And I think that emphasis should be put into that one. Now, how do we approach that? Well, basically, our members know that they come to Mexico. You cannot just tear apart two pieces which are part of the same. They know they're coming to Mexico. They want to know what's happening in Mexico. And we normally keep in touch with them and educate them about what's happening in Mexico, as they can hear. They hear a lot in the media press, many things that are totally exaggerated, so they want to know. I think they probably trust us more that we're telling them what's really going on. So we put a lot of articles in putting a lot of data and perspectives on what's happening really in the destination by itself. So that has helped with our members. We have had drop of our members. I mean, members are not coming like they used to. And some of them are because of that perception that Mexico is not safe. And they think, somebody says they don't know geography. They're right. And they don't know geography very well. And they think that Mexico, it's the same thing. And they are so close together that things happen. And you saw that, I think Jorge showed that green and red thing. You see that only the smallest part is green. We are, in Cancun, fortunate to be in that green part, which is the program is not as bad. That does not mean that we don't have the problem. We do have the problem of perception, and people are coming less. So we need to do things in order to improve that. Now, Cancun has, just like Cabo, a very different positioning. I mean, from the beginning, Cancun has been always positioned as part of the Mexican Caribbean. And when you talk about Cancun, you talk more about the Caribbean in Mexico than Mexico itself. So that has kept also part of that positioning, and I think it still subsists today. And it was, designed by Fonatur in its origins. I mean, they decided that was the position to do. I think it was, a great idea at that point. I think it was positioned very well from there, and I don't think has lost it. I think it's still there, and people are coming, and the destination is growing. Now, the main markets are suffering. Our main markets are not coming as much. So I think we need to do things to be able to have both the destination elements are very important for people to come to the area. They like to come to the area. They like the culture. They like the beaches. They like the weather. That needs to be stressed in the marketing. And the marketing is not only one, it's a combination of things. So you have to work really on the destination image also through whatever media whatever advertising or promotion you want to put in.
Excellent answer. I think this is a very interesting point. We've seen the consumer absolutely be affected. We can hear from each of them that although things are turning, we still have a ways to go. But it's not just with the consumer. It's not just with the timeshare member. We have issues all the way across the board, even within our own industry, even within our own employees in some cases. So we need to have a concerted effort to continue the focus, to move a positive direction. Although steps have been taken, progress has been made, we have a long way to go. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, so I want to wrap this up with just a general question to the four of them to answer. If there's any time left at all, we'll certainly offer the audience a chance to ask one or two questions. But as we move forward, knowing that we have to reach a wide group of people. Certainly we're targeting the North American market. That's where the biggest impact has been felt, or the biggest loss has been felt. How do we get that word out, number one? What's the best way to communicate the message that we're trying to give? And the second thing I hear here is that there's good organization at the smaller levels. There's good organization in some of the timeshare associations like Aclovac in Cancun. There's good organization with some of the groups through Amdetur, but there's not really a national presence or representation from the timeshare side. There is from the government, there is from the tourism departments, but are we really organized as a group, and is that something that we need, or can it be handled at a different level? So how do you see us moving forward, getting the message out? Is social media the key, or one of the keys for us? And do we need more organization as a timeshare industry, a united timeshare industry throughout the country, or are we better off in our individual groups and locations? Ricardo, please.
I think that is a very good point, and we should outline it in separately. How to get the best message out there in the most inexpensive way and the most viral way. I think approaching social media as developers, as operators, as destinations, and heavily promote positive comments, testimonials, videos, and all the beauty and all the good experiences across the board. I think is clever to do that, because it's the most inexpensive marketing, and everyone out there in our natural markets, they carry their smartphones, their tablets, their laptops, and they are always connected. And if we heavily promote our brand, our product, our destination, and throughout all the social media channels, I think it's going to be a huge incentive for Mexico as a brand, destinations, and product. Secondly, is Amdetur, Amdetur as a timeshare industry has the right representation across the board as an industry? I think it should be treated in a higher level. I think in the destinations right now, timeshare business is key to their success, is key to their taxes, is key to generate jobs, is key to the gastronomy industry, is key to different type of business within the destination, within the country. And I think the different levels of governments needs to treat timeshare industry in a higher level, in a higher degree, in a way that they need to give more attention. It needs to be more proactive working with all the Amdetur. It needs to be a way that Amdetur and the destination groups join together and be part of the CPTM and be part of an exclusive campaign for that industry. Because I think one of our most, or I said the cheapest PR people that we have, and they pay us, is our members. Happy members promote our product. Happy members promote our destination. And if we do direct our resources more clever, and if we direct more our resources in a better way, I think the industry will jump to a different level whereby it has to be recognized across the board. We have some challenges as a country, we have some challenges as a destination, and one of the major challenges, I think, is that the other destinations are out there and fighting for the same client. And if we do not embrace this situation and work together as a team and work together in one direction, the other guys, they will not hesitate. They will grab the business with no regret whatsoever. They want their money, they want their member, They want the customer. They're gonna find out a way to get it. So we have the beauty, we have a good product, we have a great destinations, we have a great amount of members, we have a great group of developers. Let's take the following step, and let's ask the governments, the different levels, to recognize timeshare industry in a higher degree.
Excellent, excellent. Very good answer. Anybody else like to add to that? Anna? Kemil?
I completely agree with Ricardo that the most cost-effective way to put the word out there is social media, because it gives confidence, it's trustworthy, and of course, it's not at a very, very high cost of investment like other media would be, newspaper, TV, or whatever. But one of our main important things is that we need to convey on the message that we want to provide. Each destination has their own attractions, and they're going to provide a specific message that distinguishes them from a different destination. But we need to complement with one Mexico message that is one voice for all. We need to have a message that has cohesion, that is coherent, has consistency, and it has continuity. So that way it'll stick in the mind of the consumers, of our possible prospects and existing clients, and that will allow us to have, if we all come together and we all fight towards the same message and putting the word out there, we will be able to have that brand awareness and that top of mind that we're looking for, primarily in the North American market.
Excellent. Reynaldo?
I'd like to add as well. Social networking is definitely very important. Before starting, though, I really like, I saw